structures over here, and they're randomized. Here goes nothing. All right. Oh, the finals. This is a tragedy. See, this is a tragedy because this game I want to like. I wanted to like this game a lot for a few reasons. One, the design of it is very tight and well done. It's like a more focused and more to the point Apex Legends almost. It's like you got a 3-person team. The map's cool. Here's your objective. Go get the money or go kill the other people. Simple. Go do it. You kind of immediately start. Apex Legends is a little too much looting, a little too much running around. But this game was also done by a bunch of Bad Company 2 developers, former Bad Company 2 developers, and Bad Company 2 is one of the best Battlefields ever made in terms of map design, just the way the weapons handled, the vibe. What's up, Zen? How you doing? Happy Saturday. The finals was a very, very interesting Battle Royale style shooter that's more of a loot. So you're actually, the objective isn't simply, you know, hold area or something like that. It's more like you have to collect the gold, or sometimes it's just a kill rush. You're battling against other teams. Sometimes there's 4 teams at once, but it's very Apex Legends style. 3-person squads going at it. Each of the squads can have like a heal. Like you're basically doing the thief, warrior, medic, or thief, warrior, wizard trio, but in shooter form. So you got like a medic, you got a sniper, or you got the Octane, the guy who runs at them. But the problem with this game is very, very simple. It uses AI art assets. Now, AI, I do not like in this form. AI has a place in certain areas in gaming, like you can use like an AI system to help respond to like player tickets. AI is good for stuff like that. Like I don't want to completely say AI has no place in technology because that's foolish. Like answering emails and things like automating certain things that could be automated in the framework of a game is one thing. But to take AI created voices and art assets, like the things that I am interacting with in the game, and make them AI in order to save money, like that's the only reason the company did this, was to save money. They easily could have done that and you could easily just make something organic anyway, but they chose to use AI. I'm out. Flushed it immediately. As soon as I booted the game up, like the first day, and I was hearing the announcers, Team Alpha is going for this, I said, wait a minute, these are AI voices, ain't they? And I looked it up online immediately, and it's AI. And they have like pictures of the game, like this asset here. That when I say assets, I say like the pictures, the 2D images they have in the game, like the things you're looking at as you're running around, like advertisements, it's all AI. So even if the gameplay in this game is fantastic, which it is, I played the game like one day and I said, I can't get past the AI, man. I can't sit here and be running around a level listening to AI voices talk about how good I'm doing. I feel like I'm already in the Matrix. It just feels it feels cheap. It feels cheap. Not necessarily, even if AI is good or bad, it feels cheap. To tell me, as a developer, I don't value giving you something I made with my own hands. I value giving you something that I told a computer to make. Visually, visual stimuli, audio stimuli. I, as a developer, don't want to just get a voice actor to talk to you, the player, or have any character. I just want to take an amalgamation of what these voices are that should work. Like basically when they take AI, that's taking like somebody else's voice or like a bunch of other voices and merging that into like a voice that sounds as smooth and perfect as possible. So it lacks character, it lacks grit. So artistically it feels cheap plastic bullshit, and I can't hang with it. So that game's fucking out of here. It's that simple, which is a shame because I want to talk about the good things the game does, but I can't do it because if I talk about that, I'm going to think about playing it, and I don't want to play it, so. Oh, this one I felt cheated. This one I felt cheated. Oh, damn, we got a big, hold on, we're going to pause real quick. This was a game that was like a little bit viral for one weekend, where it's basically the browser games. The advertisement is, oh, here's all the browser games that you see and can't play in the advertisement of the browser, like on the side when you're looking at your porn, like you're on your Rule 34 Bayonetta binge, as you are on a Saturday night. I know how it is. And you see those like stick figure games on the right, like, hey, let's come duel this guy with dildos, or like, hey, let's shoot Osama bin Laden back in like the late 2000s. And this game is like advertised as that. trying to think of specifically the game I hated, but I hated this so much I just immediately refunded it. I just immediately refunded it. This was an immediate refund, dude. I don't gotta overthink this one. This reminded me of some of the worst times in your life when you got like that 45 kilobyte DSL download and you're just trying to see a GIF, man. You just want to see a couple frames of those things shaking. Anyway, what's the next game? Let's stop talking about browser histories and the evil within. Oh, this game's a tragedy too. Not necessarily a sad tragedy, but like a funny tragedy. This game came out like right before Helldivers 2. So they were doomed to fail already. The concept is so great because it's basically like you're part of a Zerg rush on the side of like a bunch of Terrans. If you've ever played StarCraft 2, you're just there and you're part of like a 50 or 60 guy squad, and it's just a sea of bugs, just like Starship Troopers. But as a first-person shooter where you're building defenses, that's actually kind of cool. The problem was it was way too chaotic. It was like, because you had to build the base, like the walls, and it just took way too much coordination for how much control it gave so many people. So every match that I played devolved into like people trying to build a base slightly different and like walls clashing, and then you'd be stuck in one corner and look to your right and there's like 20 bugs like staring at you down a long hallway, and you're like just getting mauled to death. It was insane chaos, and not like a good Helldivers chaos, like a very annoying what the hell is going on. You understood what to do, shoot bug over there, bug shoot, but to understand where to go or like what lines to hold or who to team up with or like the communication in general was ass. So I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know if this game got better, but I refunded it because it felt like ass when I played it. I said, this is way too chaotic for what they want you to do. Because it's like a mass multiplayer shooter, but you're expected to coordinate like an entire tower defense situation with a group of like 50 people on decentralized communications. So I don't know if that game survived. I would like to see reviews of it, but it did not survive me. I flushed that. I flushed it big time. Oh. 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 Oh, boy. I gotta tell you. I gotta tell you something right now, man. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is still one of the best things that Ubisoft ever bumbled their way into. And I could go so nuclear about this game, but this game is so insulting. So goddamn bad. So goddamn spit in your face terrible. That it is actually worse than like... It's right up there with Duke Nukem Forever. In terms of long-ass wait, shit-ass product. Just, it's so bad. So horribly bad. There have been so many mess-ups and fuck-ups by Ubisoft over the years. This one's the most insulting, because they took something that should have been such a simple idea. Just give us a sequel to Black Flag, with mainly the sailing portion. Just make that a game, please. And the shame of this is, I still listen to Black Flag sea shanties once in a while. Like, once a month, I'll still put those on because they're so beautiful. So, as somebody who grew up in New England and, like, read more about the age of piracy than most people will read in a lifetime about anything in history, let alone the era itself, it's insulting that they can take all the fun out of the concept of what Black Flag was and deliver this. Just go watch, like, you don't need to install this. You don't need to even, you can just watch 5 minutes of gameplay and you know exactly why this is so bad and why this flopped as hard as it did. This is like a Concord level flop. Holy shit. Just moving on. Good lord. This game I can't really talk a lot of shit about because I think it was just the solo dev. I just remember not liking it. I'm not going to talk about this one too much. This is just Into the Pit. This was like a first-person kind of boomer shoot look roguelike. and it didn't hit. I'm not going to be mean about this one. I'm mean about Skull and Bones because it's like a big corporation behind it. This is probably just one dude just working. So, hey man, try a second game. Like, I'm glad I bought your game. I didn't refund it or anything. I tried it. It was just a little repetitive. For all I know, it's better. Most of these games I flushed, I go back and take a look at the store to see what the reviews say, to see if it's worth at least checking out again. So some of them I break out the plunger. You know, you break out the plunger, you give it the Hyoktua, or whatever. What's the meme? What's the meme right now? I don't know. But some of them, you pull them up out the septic tank with the plunger, and you give it another try just because why not? I did that with Darktide, and Darktide went from flushed game to solid game. So the potential is there, unless you're a game like Concord, which means the servers are offline, which means the potential is not there even a little bit. It was just a meh roguelike. I'm just gonna move on. There's no reason to really talk about it much. Just, there's better games out there that do something similar, and this game, despite having some decent aesthetics, I kind of figured out the whole game in like the first 2 hours of playing it, and I said, okay, I'm good. I didn't refund it, I didn't leave a bad review, but I flushed it. This game was disappointing. This game was disappointing, but then Balatro came out and fixed everything. You're playing through and you're making combos with like poker hands, and you're trying to get poker hands to deal damage or do spells and things like that. So it's a bit like Puzzle Quest, but with poker. If you've ever played Puzzle Quest, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's got that Bejeweled Match 3 kind of vibe, but this just felt clunky. I remember playing this in like the UI, and everything that was about just the act of playing it just felt slow and tame and like didn't have any visual pop. And then Balatro came out and showed me what was possible in this game. I just completely flushed. I never tried it again. I might go back and try it just to see if maybe I missed out on something and I was being too harsh. But the visual flair of a game like Balatro should be examined a little closer, because that game has exactly what this game doesn't, which is a really good, like, nice, tight visual style, rather than kind of, this just felt like a flat pastel painting. I don't know. Maybe I'm judging it too harshly, but this game came out before, I think it came out of early access before Balatro dropped fully, but as soon as Balatro dropped, there was no way this game had a chance. It was all over. So, not a bad game. Probably a good game. Just something about the UI rubbed me the wrong way, so this is just a soft flush. Oh, okay. I'm glad we got to this one. I'm profoundly disappointed with Counter-Strike 2, because it did nothing to shake up the game. No new weapons, no new, like, big maps, right? Like, at launch, it did not have gun game. It was basically a graphics patch, and then they're like, oh, we got new half-tick servers, and I'm just like, oh, and you got better anti-cheat, right? No. No better anti-cheat. The same exact anti-cheat. Still cheaters everywhere, man. There was no surf to start, and they're like, oh, we gave you guys tools to make new maps, and I'm just like, what does that mean? Hey, go check out our battle pass. The only thing, it seems like the only thing Valve gives a fuck about with a game that's not Dota, like, because Dota, maybe it's just because it's IceFrog in charge of it, but Dota, from everything I hear about it, because I don't play it, from everything I hear about Dota from Dota players, and now Deadlock players, is that IceFrog is Jesus, because in some way, shape, or form, they are the magician that can break the game without making the game feel too unfair. So basically, they're always the most fun at balancing things. So Dota 2 has remained really, really good from patch to patch, and now people are saying Deadlock is shaping up the same way because, secret, IceFrog is the one developing it. Or he's like the head of balance, I guess, or something. This game is the opposite. This game is the exact opposite of that. This game is so stuck in its ways and so not interesting. Like, there's nothing new being presented. There's no lean. There's no sprint. There's no slide. There's no movement. There's no new nothing. And it's like you lost a big portion of your player base because not everybody is a Russian who wants to be Mr. Tactical and, like, kitted out airsoft gear style, you know, slow-paced. It seems like it's so behind the times compared to, like, Valorant, Overwatch era. It's just so it lost the big casual part of the equation. All the casuals moved on to Valorant because it's got the Disney characters, it's got the Overwatch mechanics, it just, and Apex Legends even, just these games that are, now you got the Call of Duties that are allowing all this movement. This feels so slow and old, and yet, for some reason, this game still has like such a crazy big esports scene. So this game is like evidence of a good game. Just because a game has a good esports scene doesn't mean the game's good. What is the appeal of 2 over any old version of the game besides like new smoke mechanics and like spray painting your gun purple or whatever the fuck they do? And Valorant's got them beating that too because the guns look cooler. The game is running on nostalgia. It is. It feels like it to me. Like, the only thing I can see myself having fun with this game is stuff that is completely away from the actual game itself. If I was to boot this game up today, it would legitimately just be to play gun game or surf. That's it. Like, so little done with this that why don't they experiment with it? Why don't they just get crazy? Yeah. So, like, Valorant, I don't like the game for a lot of reasons, but I can respect a lot of the things they do to make it different. And that's why there's so many of these new games that are following Valorant's example with the weird abilities. Because actually forces engagement. You can't just... It's so... I don't know. All I know is I tried this, and I said, oh, they did not put a single new gun. Not one. Not one new gun. I said, are you kidding me? What's the point? I was like, this is like shocking. Like, no new mode, no new Battle Royale mode. What happened to that Battle Royale mode near the end of Counter-Strike Go that nobody liked? I played it once and I was like, oh, this is cool. And everybody was like, nah, it sucks, man. Just like, what? Everybody who likes Counter-Strike was just like, no, it's not for us. Got to get back into comp. I'm like, damn. Me and my buddies played CS, enjoying Spectre Divide better. Yeah, but I can't support a game, I don't know. That's Shroud's game, right? I've had a couple of those games. I've bought FPS games that are brilliant FPS games, but I can't get people to buy them with me. I need more friends is what I need. I need more friends to play games with. That's why I'm back streaming. It's because I'm actually... This is the fun of it, though, man. I'm confronting the shit that I dumped, and I'm saying, why did I dump you? We're going through all of our exes, and we're saying, this is why you fucking suck, and I'm moving on. And there's something fun about that in, like, a very Jerry Springer way. We hopped on it with expecting Valorant confusion. I think PvE. I think PvPvE is the future. I think the best games are going to be PvPvE. You know how I think that? I've been going bowling and touching grass a lot in the past couple months, and I realized the ultimate hobby is PvPvE, which is bowling. I am facing multiple factors at once. That's why I think a lot of these new era games are like PvPvE games, which is like there's that new shooter game that's like you get like SCP shit, you're running around in the forest. There's the extraction games, which are PvPvE, you're facing enemies that are in the map. There's Rust, which is a PvPvE game. It's the combination of being in like a living game world and also being versus the other players in it on different squads. As gaming has expanded, that's a great idea. But now when you get just like a PvP game like this, Tarkov absorbed some of my friends. I want to like those games, but I find the settings terrible. Tarkov is insane to me. Where they can charge for a different version to give you, and then like they're debating what DLC is. This is why you never try. I had somebody give me that on stream. Rebel Rooster, he's a chat. He's gifted me 2 games, and I dislike both of them. So, fuck. Rebel Rooster gifted me 2 games, and he's such a friend. I gotta go buy him. I gotta go see what his wish list is like. I gotta buy him something. But he had no idea why anybody is crazy about Tarkov. And then they released like the battle royale, or like the quick fight mode. And look good. But anyway, this is getting off topic. We're talking about Counter-Strike 2. This game is really old, slow, and the fact that they're just like spray painting people with, hey, here's a new crate, here's a new crate, here's a new battle pass, here's a new crate, here's a new battle pass. It's like, this ain't it. Coromon. So this isn't a bad game. This is not a bad game. I'm not going to sit here and call this a bad game. It is a game that I realized the niche I can't really groove with unless there's a good gimmick associated, and this game did not feel like it had anything crazy going for it. This felt like a Pokemon ROM hack, but knockoff. which not necessarily a bad thing. Could have been great gameplay, could have been great balance, but I just sat there and I was like, I would rather go play one of those 5 or 6 custom Pokemon ROMs that I haven't played yet and enjoy it. What's up, Strangler? How's it going, man? I saw your message on Discord, by the way, but I'm trying to stream more, so what's up, brother? We're just talking about games we flushed. And if you have a game you paid good money for and was a hunk of shit so badly that you had to flush it down the toilet, let us know, because that's what we're doing today. We're having some fun. Coromon's not a bad game. It's just very... It distracted me from... It made me realize that I have a bunch of Pokemon ROM hacks I want to play. Or a game like Coromon, like old school Pokemon adjacent style Pocket Monster RPG. I can't say I had a good time. I would rather go back and play like a Dragon Quest Monsters version. Anyway, that's it. This game's fine though. I think it's only 20 bucks, so it's still pretty... If you like Pokemon or games that are Pokemon adjacent, this is probably up your alley. Go give it a try, I guess. Like Temtem or one of those games. Oh... Oh, yes. I think everybody knows about this one. This game was the most notorious flop of all time. All-time what? All-time flop, man. I am a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. There's been a really good Guardians of the Galaxy game by Square Enix, oddly enough. They did a great job with the IP. And I like Mass Effect. I like Knights of the Old Republic. I like Star Trek. I got Star Trek Resurgence on my backlog right now. So this game is right up my goddamn alley. This game was so bad, it's one of the few games I actually made a review about when I played it. I don't do this. This is why I'm doing this today. This is why I'm on Flushfest today, is because I don't like to review lots of games and like become a reviewer guy, because I think you just learn to talk for like, there'll be people who do Elden Ring reviews that are like 2.5 hours long. I'm like, dude, what are you fucking talking about? Like, is the game good or bad? Like, what? what's your critique of the game? And these people will talk for like a seminar. It's like this is too much, dog. So sorting my thought outs in bulk like this is fun to me because it's with a chat and it's a forum. But anyway, that's an aside. This game, holy shit. It marketed itself as like Guardians of the Galaxy with like, we're gonna have story and we're gonna have like quirky characters that bicker, and you booted it up and it was just like playing Destiny multiplayer with like search and destroy or team deathmatch. What is this? And then I looked around and I was like, oh, this costs $40? And this is supposed to replace like, this is supposed to be like a competitor to Overwatch and Destiny. I got a refund immediately. As soon as the game came out, I said, this is the biggest flop of all time. Nobody's gonna play this shit. Nobody. It was so bad, it was actually stunning. But there's not much else to say about it. It doesn't exist anymore. Even if I liked this game, I couldn't play it if I wanted to. This game was just another disappointing roguelike. I played too many roguelikes. I remember thinking it was fun for about like 2 days, and then on the end of day 2, I was like, I completely lost my desire to do more runs. It's like the opposite of the Binding of Isaac effect. You did not want to play anymore after you lost a couple. Because it wasn't as chill. When it's full 3D and it's like an FPS, it's more exhausting. Binding of Isaac, you can get away with just like a bullet hell or like a 2D kind of flat plane, I feel like. I play a lot of roguelikes, and there's real fatigue with ones that are FPS. Like, I can't play RoboQuest very much. I think Gunfire Reborn is the only FPS roguelike I've played where I really legitimately want to keep playing multiple runs and I don't get tired of it in terms of the minute-to-minute gameplay. Anyway, this game, just like Into the Pit, was just a disappointing roguelike. It wasn't a waste of money. I did get my money's worth out of it, but it could have been better. Maybe I could go back and unflush this. Maybe it got better before the dev finished developing it or adding stuff to it. But this is just a disappointing one. If you see this come up in a sale, you might want to take a look. This will be worth like a $5 game. But this ain't gonna last you a while, even though it should have with the remixing of like the levels and whatnot. I do remember enjoying some of the weaponry. Some of the weaponry was kind of cool, and I only got a couple of early things. Oh, No Man's Sky. This game I've retried 3 times, and each time I get in and I say, why don't I like this game? And then I play this game for about 2 hours, and I say, that's why I don't like this game. And then I uninstall it again. I don't know how to get to the fun stuff quickly in this game without immediately running into some walk around and aim your scanner at a rock, collect-a-thon, you collect resources by flying around. If they got rid of that, if they could do something where they just give you a gun and say, go kill some raiders over there, and then we'll give you the resources, like I could just get resources out of loot boxes. If anybody that's played this game can tell me, have they added that yet? Or am I forced to, oh, you must upload your scanner. Oh my god, your scanner can now scan the iron that's in this pit in the ground. Oh my god, you got a little bit of iron. Now it's time to build one component of the 3D printer. Now we can get the 3D printer, we can bolt it onto the ship. If I can do the space exploration and the shipbuilding is cool. I will do shipbuilding if that's possible. If there's any way I could completely avoid the collecting a bunch of bullshit to actually get to the fun stuff like space battles or adventure, that would be cool. But I can't seem to get by that early part of the game that makes me hate it. So I've flushed this game at least 3 times. And I'm probably going to flush it a 4th, because I'll try it again, because they had yet another update, and they've been around long enough where I have to at least try. I want to get, like, a good 10 hours out of that game, just to say I got my money's worth. This game... okay. Boomer Shooter. Postal, which is a very crazy series. If you don't like hyperviolence and intentionally let's just say what it is. It's regarded. It's regarded as really, really bad. But if you don't like insanity, like to the nth degree, like almost to, I'm not talking Cruelty Squad level, but as crazy as you can get in video games in terms of extremely graphic nonsense, this game is up there. And I wanted to like this game a lot, but the level design sucked. Level design sucked. Weapon design was great. Weapon design had a bow called the Penetrator, where it was a giant horse dildo, and you put it in a bow, and if you pulled it back all the way, it was like a compound bow, so it had like a scope on it, and you pulled it back all the way, when you got the just frame, like the fully loaded shot, it would go, and you would let it go, and it would kill people. And that was amazing. So, this game ruled for that, but then I got like, basically right after you get that bow, I was playing it, and I was just like, this isn't that fun, because the level design felt really smooth. It felt like a lot of times I was just walking around looking for where I'm supposed to go, and then like I tried to, or I didn't see what was supposed to be happening, or some goofy shit happened, and it just wasn't great. So this is just a mediocre FPS that had some really cool weapon design, though. I thought the Penetrator, the bow, was sick, though. I think Civvy mentions... There's a review that Civvy does of this game. If you want to see an in-depth review of this game without actually buying it, go watch the Civvy video of this game. Because he summarizes why I think he calls it one of his favorite weapons ever, is the Penetrator. Because I got that in this game, and I said, this is the funniest shit of all time. But, like, you could never... you could never sell that to somebody as, like, one of the coolest weapons of all time. Because it's in such a crazy game. Anyway, next. That game got flushed. Hey, any of you who do acid, go play this. This game, great if you partake in recreational drug use. Big time. Big time. Personally, I flushed this because I got very frustrated by it in like 2 hours' time. Because it was freaking me out. So, yeah. If you're... Yeah, this game is actually pretty legit. Oh, yeah, that's a good pepino. I like that emote. Yeah. It's very nice. But yes, it is legitimately, it's like a fractal game where you basically have repeating fractal, the perspective is beautiful. So it's a beautiful looking game. This is great for like getting wallpapers for your computer and things like that. Matter of fact, this game would be brilliant if he could find some way to make this like a living wallpaper. Like if they could do a game like this where the walls, the way they have it animated is beautiful. So it's a beautiful looking game. But the puzzles themselves frustrated me. So I just realized I ain't a good puzzle gamer anymore. Talos Principle and all those games, they passed me by, brother. They passed me by. Good game, though. Good game. Did not refund, but I did flush. So Manifold Garden. If you guys like fractal kind of puzzle games, like to just kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit, this is actually pretty great. If you want to put on an Aphex Twin album and get lost in your computer, that's the game you buy right there. So this is a rare flush recommendation. This game is not for me. It might be for you. Oh, well, hold on. I went the wrong way. shit on it for the second time. I would, but there's not much else to say. I can't... This is my problem, dude, is I want to make content, and I'm a chatterbox, but I hate people who get paid to be chatterboxes. They're ruining the country, the world. It sucks. It sucks. So you gotta be able to have good thoughts quickly, and William Shakespeare was absolutely right. Brevity is the soul of wit, cocksucker. He said that once to the Pope back in 1728. But there's so much that needs to be said. But for Concord, there isn't much need to be said, because what, we gonna mourn Concord? It sucked. It was like Destiny multiplayer, so it didn't have a unique bone in its body. It was copying Guardians of the Galaxy and Destiny. Two things that aren't that popular right now. Guardians of the Galaxy just ended, and Destiny is just kind of sitting there like ripping off its customers for how many years now? It's just still just doing it. Anywho, this game was really bad. I can't even... This was one of... Actually, this is one of the first games I just had in my backlog. I just saw it in the Steam front page one day, and I just downloaded it for the fuck of it because it was free. But tried it, hated it, uninstalled it. Not much else to say. I can't even remember that much about it. This game I wanted to like. This is another one of these games I wanted to like because the source material that they... was actually very good. So this game is basically Fear, the first Fear. Fear, something Recon, the FPS with the slow-mo. That's really good. This game is basically Fear plus Doom, but I remember booting this up and being so excited because it looked like Fear plus Doom, and it felt so loose and not... The handling of the gunplay and the levels, like moving around, even though it kind of felt smooth, it didn't. And then the horror aspect and just how much of it just made me want to go back and play Fear. Like the actual Fear. Because the old school Fear had a bit more charm than this. The horror in the old school Fear was at least to the point jank. This game felt like... Something about this game felt off. But this was a good game. This is another good game I would recommend. If you like Fear, the original one, this is pretty fun. You should at least give this a try. If this is on sale, go get this. Because if this was $10, I would recommend it. They also added, I think, like an endless mode at the end, if you like mercenaries in Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that. So this game is just a... It disappointed me personally. I play a lot of shooters, and I would much rather play a game like... It'll be in the good reviews, but a game like Sulaco is more interesting than this to me. Because this is kind of ripping off two other games a little too directly, while another game is trying to do a better job with things like the AI and the environments and a cool graphics engine, things like that. Oh, any of you sons of bitches lurking in the chat, are you fans of Resident Evil 8? We're talking about this, the one of games I was excited to talk shit about. This game fucking sucks, dude. Game disappointed the shit out of me because it felt like false advertising. All the graphics and all the lead up to the game was showing off that it wasn't bad for me, but I got it for free. Okay, well, let's completely ignore getting it for free portion. Getting something for free, it always tastes better. That's like saying, oh, the pizza wasn't bad, I got it for free. You're correct, it's still a video game. You're still playing a video game in your chair, you're having a conversation. That's fine. That's fine. I'm talking about me, Resident Evil fan, waiting for this game patiently, seeing the big mommy with the Freddy Krueger glove and whatever she was doing, seeing the build-up, seeing the advertisement, seeing that it looked like it was going to be basically RE4 to the Resident Evil 7's RE2 vibe. It was so cool. And then it became like a fucking haunted house that completely skipped the most interesting area of the game right at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, you get done with like the second act of the game. You've met the coolest character, which is the Duke. And then you're past the coolest part of the game, which is the castle. Everything after the castle sucked. Compared to the castle. By itself, cool. Take the castle out of the game, make it its own game, and then make the rest of the game DLC, please. Because, oh my god. 8 was so bad, I had to stop playing it, and then like I watched other people play it, and I said, oh my god, I'm so glad I didn't play this. Because I immediately got so frustrated. The characters were dumb. The plot was dumb. The vibe was completely... It was way too, like... It looked so violent and visceral and crazy, but then you're also, like, meeting people in the village, and the way you got there was so stupid. Okay, this game makes me so angry. Like, it's so bad, dude. You cannot... This is one of the games, and a lot of people on Steam, it's like reviewed so well, and it sold so well, I think. I'm just sitting here like, oh my god, this was so awful. This and Resident Evil 3 Remake? I'm so glad 4 came out at least solid. I still have to play 4, but it looks fantastic. This and 3 Remake almost completely destroyed my hope for Resident Evil as a series. Because I thought, oh my god, they're actually going to mess up RE4. But then I heard everybody liked RE4. And from the gameplay I did see, RE4 looks pretty good, so I'm hoping it stays that way. But this game, as a Resident Evil fan, this is everything I do not like about the series in the modern era. It's way too... It makes me want to... It makes me angry that what the game was to what it became, and then how good they have it with a couple games, and they don't just say, let's use that same formula in a different venue. They always have to slightly reinvent, and the way they remixed it with RE7's mechanics was completely the wrong way, because 7 was nice, slow-paced. You didn't understand how dumb the story was until the end, and then the end was over. You know in Resident Evil 7 when you get to the end of the boat? And, like, the boat was pretty quick. Like, you can get done with that pretty quick, and you know what's going to happen. Then the last boss fight happens, it's quick, game over. 8, from everything I saw, it's just, after the mansion's done, after that first part of the game, the rest of the game is, like, swamp with some stupid boat mechanics and a big fish, and then the baby that's chasing you to eat you, and you take away all your guns. So it's no longer Resident Evil, now it's spooky game with jump scares. And then it's you're in like basically RE4 again, which is basically a bunch of enemies with guns are shooting you, and like then now it's just the Terminator or whatever the hell. Oh, this game sucked. All right, I'm so glad I flushed this. This was a turd that needed a massive flush. I had to get the poop stick. I had to get a metal nail and poke at that motherfucker to get it down into the plumbing. For God's sakes, I hated this game. I hated this game. Hated it. This is BPM. This is one of the first, I think, rhythm FPS, which was like you time your gunshots with the beat of the music, and then your gun fires and things like that. I didn't like this because it had a really shitty color filter thing over top of it, and all the enemies were super similar. I kind of want to go back and play this again, because I think they fixed a lot of my gripes with it, but then, like, the enemies were horrible looking. Like, they were some of the worst enemies I'd ever seen. Like, they just looked so... It was like weird day one amateur ghosts that are just kind of running at you like functions of actual Doom characters. It didn't even have... It had no charm. It was like opposite charm. So, I remember the music being pretty good, but the gameplay and the stupid color filter they put over every stage to differentiate the stages, and you can see it in the advertising because this is like hard red, so they're trying to go for this super saturated color style. It was just so offensive to the eyes. It felt like I was playing, was that red? You guys ever play that red, what was that red Nintendo that you had to wear on the Virtual Boy? Was it Virtual Boy? You used to you basically set it up on a table. I had one as a kid. It was actually kind of sick because the Mario game and the WarioWare games were good. Oh my god. But you had a Virtual Boy and you would look through and it would have like a red... It would have like a red infrared feed? Something crazy. And you could not play with that for more than 30 minutes. You would burn your eyes out of your sockets. That's how I felt playing this game. Felt like I was playing Virtual Boy. Wasn't good. This game is really strange because this game I loved. I loved this game. This game is a low poly, Minecraft looking, but really good playing, massive battlefield function with tons and tons of great ideas. Like, the maps were well done, huge maps. They added a bunch of game modes. They rebalanced a lot of stuff. The vehicle play was fun. The local voice chat was the most fun shit. It was so entertaining for like a week or two when it came out. So many people were about it. And then I said, okay, I like this game a lot. I'm going to stop playing it for now, and I'm going to wait for this to be finished, and I'm going to come back and play a lot of it when it's finished. Some early access games I buy, that's exactly how I feel. I try it. Do I like this? Good. I'm going to wait until it's out fully. I'm waiting on Ultra Kill right now. Ultra Kill was the #1 example of that. I played the first 2 levels of Ultra Kill, and I said, this is going to be some crazy shit, and I'm not going to touch this until it's completely out with all chapters because I want to be wowed. And that was me with this game. I said, I'm going to wait until this is out. I went and looked this up last week when I was starting to put together this list for this video, and I said, hey, what's going on with Battlebit? I want to play that. And then I realized the devs haven't updated it in like 6 months. No news. No nothing. It's abandoned. And they made a lot of money with this shit. This shit was popping off. What happened? So rather than look into it, I just read what all the reviews said, and it just a bunch of people saying the same thing. They left this game to rot, and I'm just like, wasn't this game? And like, it still works. Like, you can go play it right now, but like the progression's I don't know what's. It just blew up on the runway. This game was just about to get launched, and then it got onto the runway and just strafing runs. Something came by and blew this game the fuck up. Maybe it's incompetent developers. Maybe they took the money and ran. Maybe they pulled a blizzard and somebody deleted half the game off of a friggin' flash drive and they're done. I don't know what happened, but this game's dead. I would love to play this, but I guess it doesn't exist anymore? Or maybe it does? Or something's wrong? Because the devs, I want to go look this up. When's the last time Battlebit was updated? March 2nd. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 months ago, this was last updated. And people still a bunch of thumbs up on there, so for whatever reason, it still works, but like they completely... Either it's going to be the biggest update of all time, or they took the money and ran. Either way, that's fucked up, because I like this game a lot. It was actually very entertaining. Okay. This game bit me in the ass because I wanted to give anime a try, and then this game booted up, and this game had like a shield system, and I tried playing this game for one day, and all it was anime shouting back and forth, and I said, oh my god, this is like an episode of just everything I hate about anime's homogenization of like body types and just but I can't hate. It was not a bad game, just wasn't for me. That's fine. I'm not gonna sit here and bitch about something that obviously wasn't made for me. I gave it a try. That try, I didn't like the shield mechanic. The grappler guy I was playing was cool. He was like a grappler with rekkas, but then I realized how much of the game was like, I don't know, it completely lost me, and I tried the training mode, and I tried to play a little bit, and it didn't get me. Too many girls with, like, big swords, like, slicing you up a million times, like Virgil, too much. I'm fighting against a maid, and she's, like, hitting me with a broom. I'm tilted enough with Elisa and Lydia and Tekken Dog. Do I really gotta sit here and get mopped up, literally? It got me. I didn't like the lack of testosterone. I didn't like the roster all that much. It's alright. Tried it. Wasn't for me. Soundtrack was good. We'll definitely listen to that. It's like some Toho kind of piano, but like, it's very well arranged and like a lot of melody going on back and forth. Very entertaining. So the music was great. I have some games on this list that just have amazing OSTs, and that's it. I'll take the OST. You can keep your shitty game. No problem. Next. This is where my soul is on fire with modern gaming. Can somebody please give us some bigger, better racing games? This game sucked. I couldn't get this game to run on my computer, let alone actually play it. Need for Speed Unbound looked cool, and then I go looking and people are just like, well, it's like always keeping you poor, like you have to make money and you have to keep making money to keep racing, but you're always moneyless, and I'm just like, what? And then where did Need for Speed go? Like, Need for Speed and Ridge Racer, that's a big chunk of my goddamn childhood, man. So crazy to me that these racing games can be so just dead. And then some are good, like I have BeamNG Drive, I got Wreckfest. Those are great. Flat Out just got re-released, like Flat Out 2. And then games like this come out, it's just a hunk of shit. I guess it's just EA. EA owns the license. I guess, you know what? I'm overthinking it. EA owns it, so it turned to shit. I should know by then. Battlefield turned to shit. Mass Effect turned to shit. What else is EA turned to shit? What else hasn't EA turned to shit? Madden's back on PC. Guess what? Turned to shit. Good lord, man. Yeah, we shouldn't even overthink this one. This does not deserve any brain power associated to it. It's a shitty EA Need for Speed. It's that simple. But it's by Criterion, right? So it's like EA ruined something even worse because they took somebody who made a good racing game in the past, like Burnout, and said, you guys make a hunk of shit right now that looks a little cool with all these, make it pop, make it visual for all the kids that are into the graffiti. Kids still like Mark Echo, right? Yeah, get Mark Echo to make the visual effects. That's what this game felt like to me. And I didn't even play it much. I think I played it one day, and then it didn't work, and I tried to refund it just now, and they said, no way. You had this game for like a year. Fuck, I should have refunded it right when I bought it. It used like the stupid EA launcher, so I don't even think it's working. Heaven Dust 2. There's not much to say about this one. I just bought this one on a whim. This is like a kid's version of Resident Evil. This game wasn't even that bad, actually. Go back and replay this just for the fun of it. This is a good thing to replay right now, like in the middle of Halloween. This is like if you wanted a version of Resident Evil that your kids could play. Like a 5-year-old could play. Really kind of cool. So, I don't know why oh, you know why? I think I got stuck halfway through once it started getting like puzzle heavy, and I found the backtracking obnoxious because there's a couple shortcuts, and the isometric perspective in this is kind of crazy. But hey, go look up this game. If this game's like $5 or less, this is worth playing. This is actually worth playing because the map design, it might just be a get good situation. There are some get good situations where I had a game I didn't like that much or I got stuck with, but rather than sticking with it, I just flushed that shit. Where a little bit more effort probably would have got me past wherever I got stuck at. I think this is one of those games. Because I remember actually enjoying this for a little bit. The opening, I actually enjoyed the flow of the gameplay in terms of it's basically a Resident Evil clone, but it's like isometric perspective, and it's actually kind of well assembled. I don't understand why I like this much, but I loved it. It just lost me halfway or whatever, so flushed. World Fighting Soccer 22. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like the fruit stripe gum of gaming. It's like a fighting game in soccer fashion. You're basically like a 2-button game. You're running back and forth and like playing volleyball. Like one guy passes, one guy spikes the ball in. It's so wild. This would be, but it was like fun for 5 minutes. And then I said, oh, I need to find somebody else to play this with. But if you found somebody else to play this with, it would still be fun for about 5 minutes. So this is the fruit stripe gum of gaming. It's like, oh, that's more disappointing than fruit stripe gum. Literally, Peter just goes, aw. It's literally, you have one burst of flavor, and it's over. That was this game. Oh. Who played this? Did anybody in the chat play this? Did anybody in the chat play Battlefield 2042? Because I did. And I immediately refunded that shit. I played the beta, and I said, holy balls, this is awful. They were trying to do operators with these weird... It was so brutal. This game is ass and cheeks back to back. They tried to mix like Rainbow Six Siege, where you have like operators with powers. They got rid of classes. Like there was no more support, medic, assault. It was like, what? The maps were like huge, but they had huge barren wastes of nothing. It was laughably bad. I think everybody said so, too. It was, like, the worst thing ever. It's still, like, a mixed review game that just sucks dick. And now they're saying they're going to go back and make another Battlefield, and it's like, all right. This was, like, the end. This game right here. And, like, I guess they went back and made it better now, but it's like, can you even... How much does this game cost right now? If I wanted to buy Battlefield 2042 right now, without going to a Game Pass or something stupid, how much would that cost me? They're still charging $60? They're still charging $60? You gotta be shitting me. I'm looking at the Steam store right now. $60 for Battlefield 2042. And they just put out an update yesterday. What do these reviews say? In one of the top couple of reviews, a gentleman on Steam says the game is really good. Got it for $8, I think. Okay. $20 or less? I'm there with you. 60? 60? Okay, so there's got to be something to this. Because it's EA, so they do put their shit on sale. So that's one game I'd go back. Like, I flushed this so hard that now I'm morbidly interested to go back and see if they salvaged it at all. That's how bad this was. It was so bad, I'm like, it's got to be way better now just because of how low it was when I played it. I played Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 still takes a curly shit on this game, I guarantee it. But I want to play this just out of morbid curiosity, because now they're making another Battlefield, so I'm like, okay, if you're making another Battlefield, what's the current Battlefield that your primary devs are working on, and is that doing okay? Did you learn anything from the horrible launch? So we'll see. They say they're updating at the end of the month, so I'll check that game out later. Wayfinder. This game, you might have seen this. This got, this is a game where I give them a thumbs up, like they did a good job salvaging this game. This is a salvaged game that's not for me. So this is like an ARPG now, but it used to be an MMO. But the main company that owns it, I guess, pulled the plug on it, or there's some company that, like, was the bigger publisher, and the MMO did really, really bad, so they basically, the old developers bought the game from the publisher and built it up from the ground up to be more of like an ARPG. The problem with this game for me is at the start, it advertised, oh, pick from one of 8 classes, but then at the start of the game, you only get to pick 3, none of those 3 of which I liked. And they weren't classes, they were like characters with names. And as the character with the name, it tried to put you through a bunch of cutscenes to start with. I skipped everything just to get to the gameplay to see if the gameplay was worth it. Because with a game like this, you can look at the screenshot and know the story isn't worth shit. Okay? You can look at this screenshot and you know immediately from just the look of the characters, you're not gonna get any kind of, there's no seasoning, there's no sizzle with the story here. This is just the same old shit anybody else has done. So, the question is, what's the gameplay like? Is the gameplay loop fun? I can tell you right off the bat, the gameplay loop ain't fun. It felt like a lot of Overwatch characters where you just do your cooldowns in order. You get a big crazy effect, the boss's health bar goes down. It was just Zenless Zone Zero. If you want like an ARPG type deal, or like an action RPG, like if you ever played Kingdoms of Amalur, like that old game, or like kind of open field collectathon where you're killing enemies, you're leveling your guy up, you're doing big battle effects. It's a little bit like Dragon's Age, but then you pick from one of 8 classes. Apparently, the raid content at the end is really fun. So this game is for some people, but the games that kind of just cycle cooldowns like that, I like the game to, if I'm going to play a game like that, I'll just play Deadlock or something like that. So this game, I don't think it's a bad game, it's just not for me. So, and I very much applaud the devs, because the devs did one of the few things very few companies do these days. They bought from their publishers, and they fixed a game that should have just died and gone away. So they did something that not a lot of devs do, and I applaud them for that. So I refunded the game, it's not for me, but if you like that sort of game that's like an MMO, but not really, this is actually kind of fun. So it's like an MMO that's single player now, and you can also have really good co-op time with it. Just not for me. It's not for me. My main gripe with the game is that it makes you sit through a bunch of cutscenes that I skipped just to get to the gameplay, and then you probably have to, it says in the menu when you want to select a different character, progress further in the story to unlock this character. So the idea of me, I wanted to try all the characters, but it only provided 3, and I was like, okay, I can't get past 2 hours because I want to refund this if I don't like the character, so I'm just going to get rid of it now. To Yomi. Okay, this game was good, just too basic. This game was good, but basic. The gameplay sucked, but the visuals of it were amazing, so I bet if you watch somebody speedrun this, it would be fun. It's a cinematographic, kind of Japanese, Ghost of Tsushima-esque game that takes place in like there's good camera perspectives. It looks very nice. The combat gets really rudimentary very quickly. So, combat was whatever. Good game, though. Didn't refund it or anything. I would recommend playing through it like once just for fun, or watching a YouTube playthrough. Vampire Survivors. This one wasn't for me. I know a lot of people who love this game, and I like some auto-shooter games. The main 2 auto-shooter games I like are Deep Rock Survivor and Halls of Torment. Those are my 2 favorite auto-shooters. But this game lost me just because the way the rewards cycle with the chest, it was too much like it was too lottery machine. It was too lottery machine. Something about the presentation did not vibe with me. I might go back and replay that. I don't know. I'd have to be pretty bored to play this instead of Halls of Torment or Deep Rock Survivor, because I think both of those games have better aesthetics. But this game was really good. It's not bad. It's just not for me. I didn't like the visuals. I just didn't like the visuals. The audio-visual stimulation was too much like a slot machine for my tastes. It's as simple as it's like a certain kind of taste ice cream. It's like I tried some Rocky Road, and I'm just like, that's good. I'm just not a fan of vanilla, which is what this game's about. This game's about, like, in-your-face dopamine spikes, right? I like them to be a little bit more reserved. Halls of Torment's perfect for me, because I can just pretend I'm playing, like, Diablo 1. And Deep Rock Survivor is, I like the mining aspect of, like, crafting the level as you're running around. I don't know if you can even do that. There might be Vampire Survivor levels that are more interesting, but I never got to them. Oh, did anybody play this? I don't think anybody played this. This is one of the 2 games I reviewed in this list already that got their own reviews. And I reviewed this one because this should have been a slam dunk. I really wanted to like this game. This game was so fun in the beta, dude. You guys don't even know, man. It was so fun. It was so fun. It's basically air hockey with League of Legends characters, but you can play with QW, you can play with mouse and keyboard, you can play with pad. Oh, it was so good. It was so good in the beta. And then they ruined it by, like, making the main, like, ranked queue. They made it, like, 1st to 5, and then they made, like, the abilities you use to kit your guy out. They made them, like, a draft thing. There's a YouTube video on my channel that says Omega Strikers launch sucks because I wanted to like this game. Even the devs admit, like, oh, we messed up, we're on to our next game. This game was so goddamn fun. I wanted to make this my main game. Like, there were streamers that were playing this on Teams and liking this, but it flopped so hard after it came out, and I was so sad because this was actually a good team. Good time. Ruined the flow. I can't even talk about it. It was so disappointing. Oh, this game was ass. This made me want to stop playing. I don't really care about zombie horde shooter games anymore because of 2 games on this list, and this is one of them. I wanted to play Call of Duty Zombies, but I didn't want to buy Call of Duty. Along came this game. This game was like 20 bucks on sale. Everybody had a good review of it, and they said, hey, this is actually a really, really good, quick, to-the-point copycat of old-school Call of Duty Zombies. Like, I said, oh, that sounds great. I would love to play that. I would love to play that without buying Call of Duty. I'll buy this game. Bought it. Matchmaking did not work. Got so frustrated, refunded it immediately. Don't launch the friggin' game if I gotta wait 3 days, man. You can't capitalize on, like, it killed me. I hate when games do that. Like, when they just have, like, this big fatal flaw. Like, I was playing single player, and I barely had fun. I was like, oh, matchmaking doesn't work? And was just sitting in the lobby like, come on. And it didn't go, and I was sitting there for, like, 30 minutes. Shit. Waste of time. Ghostrunner? This game's good. I sucked at it. I don't know why, I just sucked at it. I did the flow, I didn't get the timing of it. The parkour, I sucked at it. I don't know why. I couldn't kill anybody. I was bad at this game. And I got mad at this game, but then on the flip side, this game has an amazing OST. So I went and bought the OST. So I refunded this game and then bought the OST because I said, oh, I still want to support the devs because the OST is dope. I think I know somebody that worked on the OST for this game, and I said, oh, they worked on the game, and I said, oh, the OST for that game is dope. So, and I think there's a sequel. I think there's a sequel coming out. So this game's actually, if you like the, you know, Techno Ninja, you want to be Gray Fox running through cyberpunk cities, like slicing monsters in half and people, this game's kind of tight for that. Like, it's actually a good game. I sucked at it, so I flushed it. It's that simple. This game made me contemplate if I even like gaming anymore. That's how bad this was. Bethesda is one of everybody's favorite companies, not just because they occasionally make a gem now and then, but because even with games that are jank, that are like bug-ridden messes or not really great games, they still have like a lot of charm to them, and they're still good to go back and play. You got your Morrowind, you got your Fallout 4, which is like not the best Fallout game of all time, but it's fun and it's like really enjoyable, and the map's nice, and a lot of the things that happen are funny. And then you have games like Starfield that have no charm, that have shitty mechanics, and that are a slap in the face for what should be something a little more interesting than as boring as this goddamn game is. It didn't even have the common decency to just be bad from the get-go. It pretends it's a good game, then devolves into the most lifeless, annoyingly bad games I've ever played. Getting around the world is a bunch of load screens and horrible space travel. Fighting people is just the most boring, old-school Fallout combat. The only good thing I can say about the game is that the OST wasn't awful, and the guns, some of them looked kind of cool. The characters monologue at you, worse than I'm monologuing in this video right now. The characters monologue at you, the missions the characters take you on are ball-numbingly boring. The fucking way in which your special power in this game, here's a big-ass spoiler for you that I could have told you before it even came out. It's just reused dragon shouts, but instead of you going through like a cool dungeon to like get to the dragon shout and fighting like a Draugr or some kind of boss, like, you know, a dungeon, like an RPG, like something cool where you go through the dungeon to get to the thing, instead of that, this game just literally has these domes in the middle of these planets, and you walk into the dome and you fly through a little ring like you're literally jumping through hoops at the goddamn circus. Like a cat that they got some clown hat. You feel like such a moron for even playing this game. This game fucking sucks. I hate this fucking game. And I sincerely hope it leads to a downfall of Bethesda, because this game's so bad that this game has got them talking about their next game because everybody was so shocked with how bad this is. This game is so fucking bad that now they're putting out articles that are literally saying stuff like, well, gamers need to lower their expectations because the next Elder Scrolls isn't going to be as good as they think it is. That's what the fuck they're saying because of how bad this shit heap was. And me, I'm in space right now. My entire backdrop for games is the fact that some of my favorite games of all time are space-related. Mass Effect, and then Bethesda, the company that made Skyrim and Oblivion, two of some of my favorite games of all time, is making a space game? I'm hyped. Maybe they'll finally get it together and they'll write something good? Nah, son. If I had realized early on, I wouldn't have refunded it. Because I would say, I gotta sit here and hold this L. This is the game that will, this and Anthem and Mass Effect 3, all space-related games that I thought would be tight, the worst things of all time. These games are the games that I remember, and I go, this is why I stopped buying so many games. This shit is fucking trash. Everything about it. Not a single alien to be found, not an interesting city in the whole game. The quests were some of the most boring shit. The place, go to the bar, go to the big cool afterlife bar they're supposed to have in the middle. It is so shockingly bad, this game. I can't, it short circuits my brain knowing how bad this is. Oh, Hexguardian. Okay, well, Hexguardian was a really cool concept for a game that looked terrible. I mean, this game is basically a roguelite tower defense where, like, you get pieces of the map, and as you're getting pieces of the map, you're building out routes you need to defend. The concept in gameplay felt like something that should be in so many other tower defense games, which is you're building the map as you're defending it. That was kind of interesting. Like, you build, oh, you have to take this river. Where do I put the river? Oh, shit, it's over there. Now I got to defend this because they're going to come this way. It was actually pretty interesting gameplay. It just looked like ass. It looked like it should have been claymation if they wanted it to look good. It just looked like ass. I said, I've got better tower defense games now because I played Thronefall and I played BTD6. And I was like, this is a cool concept, but it just doesn't look interesting to play. It didn't have any good audio-visual stimulation. It was whack. With Bloons tower defense, that's one of the simplest things they got right, is you're popping balloons. Who doesn't like bubble wrap? Popping balloons. Just like Jerry and fucking Rick and Morty. Just popping balloons on that tablet, dog. Oh, this is Fashion Police Squad. This is an FPS where you're a fashion police. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're showing up and, like, you're dressing people with weaponry. Like, you've got a gun that's like a sewing machine that's, like, dressing people up. Then you've got, like, different guns that, like, do different things to, like, clean the characters up that you're playing, because, like, they've got, like, faux pas and whatnot. A faux pas meaning they look like shit. Like, there's somebody wearing sweatpants, there's, like, a casual suit guy, there's, like, a guy wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Like, there's all these enemies that have different shitty clothes, and really fun to play, and they have, like, this belt, like, you're whipping, and, like, you're using it to be Spider-Man. But this game was fun, but the main problem is the weapons, like, don't work on enemies they're not made for. So if you have, like, a certain enemy, and you have, like, the sewing machine gun out, and they're a different enemy, like they're an enemy that requires the pistol, the game makes you switch to the pistol to beat that enemy. And I don't like that. Just, it felt like it was too restrictive. It felt like I had to use a certain gun so often, and I had to keep switching the guns that I didn't necessarily want to use. Sometimes you're just playing a gun game, you just want to use a gun just because it's different, right? That's the cool thing about Doom and a bunch of these games. You can just use the shit you want. This game had a great concept, but then they made you use certain weapons against certain enemies, and that didn't play very well, so I stopped. I wanted to like it, though. It was a very cool concept. I don't even think people know about this game. This is an AI asset-having game about managing League of Legends, like MOBA esports teams. It's called Esports Godfather, and if you look it up on Steam, it's got like a bunch of it's got like a Chinese name next to the regular name. This was such a funny concept for a game. If this had like a good tutorial and didn't use AI art assets, I would play this. Imagine if you are the coach of a League of Legends team and being like, oh, my jungler, you need to go support our bot laner because he needs to farm up. Like, go defend him and let him carry. Or we need to absolutely blitz them. We need to run it down middle and take them out quickly. Or we need to ban this hero and that hero. It actually seems like it's a cool concept for doing that. That actually sounded interesting to me. So, I don't even like League of Legends anymore, but the idea of being a League of Legends coach is more interesting than being a League of Legends player. And this game was actually pretty interesting. I still flushed it, though, because it had a bunch of AI assets, and that's the same reason I flushed the finals, so... Blood West. This was an amazing game. I loved this game until Act 3. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. But this game was an incredible immersive sim. You kind of roamed around the map being stealthy because you get killed otherwise. You're looting stuff. You're killing zombies. You're getting chased by Wendigos. You're running around the map. There's like crazy snipers. There's like loot. There's guns. I was recommending this game to everybody. This game felt like a combination of like Deus Ex and like first Red Dead. Is an FPS. You could be like stealthy. You could do a melee build. You could do like a stealth arrow build. You could do a full-on Night Wolf build where you're throwing axes. This game was sick. And then I got to the third act and I was like, oh, I don't want to play this at all anymore. This game has 3 acts, and like when you get to the third act, it's like more linear and more just like you're kind of dealing with really, really powerful enemies, and there's this thing where you have to like upgrade your weapons, and you kind of have to go around the third stage to get the really good weapons to use to get to the end of the game. But in the second act, you have to do that same thing. So it's like in the second act, you're upgrading guns, you're getting better, you're getting better. I felt like this game completely messed up in the third act because it made you do that whole thing over again. But then it made you do so in a map that was more restrictive. So this is one of the few games where I flushed for actual gaming reasons. Such a mid... It had, like, not even mid. It had a bad construction because you get to the third act and they just want you to go upgrade your weapons again. And I'm like, man, I'm tired of hunting down new weapons. This is one of the games that was actually... I wish I didn't flush. So we'll talk about that later, but... This game's a really, really fun game if you love Deus Ex, if you like Old West stuff, if you like stealthy kind of horror games. This game's pretty fantastic. Did anybody play this? Because this is a good game, but I just don't want to play it. This is a good game. This is Ruined King, League of Legends, which is the RPG they made with a whole bunch of the characters. They did like, yeah, it's, what's his name? Pyke, Braun, Illaoi. Of course, you gotta put Yasuo in there because he's the poster boy. Misfortune and Ahri. I like Misfortune. She's my favorite character out of that bunch. Anybody from Bilgewater? I love Bilgewater. I used to be a Gangplank main. That was my shit. I started playing this game, and I just immediately said, I don't want to play this, this really basic nothing. I think it's a gem in this genre. I ask because I might want to unflush this one, too. My guy, Braum? Well, that's the thing is... I've always respected the League of Legends. I still wish I could go back and play League of Legends, but the only game I can see myself playing in the League of Legends universe right now is Legends of Runeterra. I like the League of Legends, like, lore characters. I think I haven't even watched Arcane, and I hear Arcane is fantastic. But then I played this, and I was like, this feels kind of tame, and this feels kind of, like, the combat didn't get me at all. Let me ask you this, Alax. I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Alax? Whatever. Let me ask you this. If I played this on, like, journalist mode just for the story, and I did, like, mash A to beat every battle mode, would this game still be worth it with the story and, like, the things that happen? Definitely, I think so. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's the only recommendation I needed, man. Thank you for your input. Thank you, thank you. I have another game stacked down the line. I'm going to unflush a few games. This is why we do this, though. We collect them and we think out loud, and sometimes you can find, hey, I'll go back and try that. This game sucked. This game, I don't know what happened to this game. This game, when it was conceptualized, it was really good. Then I played it one time, And I said, this is the worst feeling roguelike I've ever played. Felt like shit. This game just... I don't even remember why this game sucked. I just remember being offended and leaving a review like, what the fuck happened? This game is so bad, I think I repressed why it was so bad, because I had such a bad time. It's just the worst, the most terrible opening 2 hours of any roguelike I've ever played. I remember having such a bad taste in my mouth after playing this. This was awful. I don't even want to look at the promo art anymore. This game was bad too. Do you guys watch that guy on YouTube who, he's like Pirate Software, and he said, oh yeah, my voice transformed when I was 30 years old. Now I have like a super baritone. First of all, bullshit. I would love to meet that guy IRL so I could talk to him away from a computer screen. Second of all, he recommended this game, and I want my goddamn $2 back or whatever I paid for this, because this game sucked dick. I think he did some YouTube short where he said, oh, if you're stressed about playing a game, just go play this game, and this game is really profound. You're going to love this. This is one of the... Everybody who makes games should play this game. And I played this, and I said, this game is up its own ass, dude. I'm not even going to tell you what the message was. This game is up its own ass. So if you ever see that Pirate Software guy, or that clip ever comes up in your feed, and he says, go play the beginner's guide, tell him you're full of shit, dude. That game is booty cheeks. That game is $2. I wish I had spent that $2 on, like, a bouncy ball at the local dollar store. That would have been more of a fun time than installing this beginner's guide game just to hear the voiceover of what the whole plot is and what the concept is, just to get to the end of it and go, that's what this game was? F you, dude. And if this clip ever went viral, he's probably going to say, I missed the point. Of course I missed the point. It was too busy being mired in this long-ass monologue bullshit. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, because I want to talk about how much this one pissed me off. It was a $2 game, so it's not that big a deal, but still. This game's actually good, but the graphics suck. This is Chronicon. This is an ARPG that's, like, pixelated. And they added a cool character called the Machinist, and if you just want to see a bunch of enemies die in, like, ARPG fashion with customizable builds, this is kind of like an in-between of Diablo and Halls of Torment. Build your character like a real ARPG, like you get items, you skill up certain things, you rank certain skills, you spec into certain builds, and then you just mow down tons of units while clearing maps. Like, the problem being the graphics are really rudimentary, so it's really tough to recommend it. You kind of have to be a hardcore fan of the genre to enjoy this, and I had a hard time with Diablo 4, I had a hard time with Diablo 3, I had a hard time with... I didn't even go that far into Last Epoch. I kind of got to the end game and I said, this sucks because they didn't finish the story. It takes a lot to get these games to get me, and I think Path of Exile 2 is the only one I actually want to play besides, like, Grim Dawn is going to have a new expansion, and then Titan Quest 2. Those are the three ARPGs I'm excited for. Anyway, I just saw this get released, and the early access is terrible, but also they turned it into, like, an extraction game? When this used to be like a really chill Left 4 Dead kind of game, which is like a big map and you kind of explored the map, this is like an extraction game now. And they put it out in early access and it runs like ass. So, yeah, just get out of here. Mechabellum. Hey, this game's good, but this game's not for me. If you guys have ever, in your life, enjoyed auto battlers, which is basically just, you got your super auto pets, you got your TFT, you got your Dota Underlords, RIP, I think that game's dead. A couple of these games where you basically just set your units out in like a chess configuration to blast the other teams. If you guys like games like that, I think Hadean Tactics was a good one. Hadean Tactics was good. I should try that. If you like any of those games, this game is up your alley. I didn't like it. It was very... just not my style. Like I said, if I'm going to play an auto battler, I would rather Super Auto Pets or TFT. But if you like mech style, this game, actually pretty legit. And I think it's fully out now, and I think it's only $20. I would say good game. This is a soft flush. This is not for me. It's not for me. But it was very fun. If you like the idea of, like, giant mech warrior armada, and sending it out against the other guy's armada, and then just letting the battle unfold and just watching it with the chaos, this is a great game. This is for the mech heads. But it's a good game. It's just not for me. I wasn't a mech head enough to really... I didn't enjoy the back and forth of the chess rounds with the mechs the way they are. I kind of like the simplicity of Super Auto Pets, or I did, and they made it complicated, so I quit it. Anyway, this game I thought was super overrated. Why did... Everybody was saying this, oh, this game's style is so cool. I saw the graphics, I said, oh, that looks neat. I hope the gameplay is good. I played for 5 minutes. I said, this isn't even a little spooky. This is like vibes only. This game felt like a really crappy PS1 lo-fi mixtape. It didn't unsettle me at all. It just made me feel like this is a tech demo game. This didn't feel like a full game to me. And when the gameplay isn't exhilarating and it's a little too... It was like a little too Final Fantasy VII cute. It was trying to be cute with its presentation. It's not a bad game per se, it's just not my kind of game. I played this for 30 minutes and refunded it. This was a quick dump. Oh. Hey, I got another game that's, god fucking awful. Redfall, this was one of the bigger flops in a while until Concord and a bunch of other games made it worse. What can you say about this one? This one's so dead nobody even remembers it. Do you guys remember Redfall? You guys remember what a shit show this was? Because I feel like Concord came along and everybody forgot about Redfall because Concord flopped even harder than this game did. This game was just terrible. There's just not much else to say about it. There wasn't a lot, nope. Nobody gives a fuck. No, it's so dead, it's very dead. Which is ironic because it's like vampires, and usually vampires don't die, they stick around, but this game died very quietly and quickly. Oh, so I hate this for a similar reason as to why I hate Resident Evil 8, which is the first part of the game is the best part of the game, and you're done with it very quickly. And then the game constantly is throwing new shit at you that isn't that interesting. So, Inscryption was a really, really good, well-made card game that has like a super horror and like a cult vibe to it. And you're like trapped in a game where you keep dying and coming back. It's a bit like that game Buckshot Roulette where it's like super creepy and gnarly looking and it's all scary. But this is like more of like a mystery game where you're unfolding the mystery as you are playing the card game, and then the card game evolves, and the mystery evolves, and where you are, and the characters. All that evolves as you play the game. By the second evolution, I hated this game. I just said, they keep introducing new shit I have to keep rethinking. So this game wasn't for me, but it was good. This was a quality game. So if you like card games, especially if you like single-player card games that are like adventures, or like you like to learn as you go, this game is amazing, and I think it has reviews that are peak. This game, yeah, no, it has good reviews. I'm not going to call this a bad game. This is just a game that wasn't for me. So I'm just telling you why I hated it is because I loved the first part of the game, but as the game progressed past the first part, much like Blood West at Act 3, or at Resident Evil Village, where you get done with the mansion, this game made me go, aw, man, I really like that other part of the game, but I hate this. I was really mad that I got suckered into the hype about this game, is this shit right here. Every time I think of games getting overhyped, I'm going to think of this game now. Because when you look at this game, you think it's going to be some kind of Dark Souls, like, open-world adventure with, like, cool... Something's different, right? There's something different about this besides Dark Souls. That's why everybody loves this game, right? And the most important part of the gameplay of this game, from what people tell me, is just aimlessly wandering around and camping. I didn't know that. I thought, oh, this game's going to have awesome boss fights and, like... cool characters, and like, it's Capcom, so it's got to have some interesting... No. This game was awful. Truly awful. I hated this shit. This shit was so bad. You got to the first city, and the frame rate was unplayable. And then I went looking like, oh, is there some graphical setting I should use to fix that? And they said, no, that's just how the game works when there's a lot of NPCs. Because it individually artificial intelligences all the NPCs and their routines through the whole world in real time or something, and that makes the game so slow in any city. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so the cities, you're not supposed to use them? It's like, no, you mostly just roam around the game. It's like, okay. And then I tried roaming around, and like for 5 minutes I said, oh, it's like the same enemy types. They said, well, yeah. And I said, oh my god, I'm so sad I got past 2 hours. Did I refund this shit? I hope I did. I don't think I did. I think I got way past the 2 hours. Oh, I got to 3 hours and wanted to refund it and failed miserably. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. My review... I should read my review on stream. 19 people found this review helpful. I have 3.0 hours on record. Game was all hype. Still mad I got tricked into buying it. Runs like absolute crap to boot. Trailers, they got me, man. This is one, they got me. These guys got me. Capcom got me. Annoyingly empty this game was. Like, there's no NPCs you talk to. There was nobody interesting. They say, like, oh, the pawn system. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Are there any interesting NPCs? And all the reviews were like, there's not a single interesting party member. I'm just like, so what's so good about the pawn system if the characters aren't interesting and they're just annoying people talking at you. Person who reviewed this game better than I ever could, General Sam. You guys know him on YouTube? Go watch that. You'll have a great time. You can laugh about how bad this game is. You can see how little the enemies and the townspeople like react to you. And it's so weird because like they say, oh, it's like an open world game, but you can't swim. If you ever go in water, there's bugs that will eat you, and it's like, what? And then like the first thing the game shows you is like bugs eating a guy, but he just like respawns. So it's like, huh? So then you go to like the first city and General Sam's like chucking priests into the water and they're like dying, and then they just resurrect and look at you. It's like, that's normal? That's so dumb. And they're talking about like, oh, don't you guys love how the characters all have their own routines and lives? It's like, no, they don't. They can't die. Or like if they die, they get put in the mausoleum. It's such a weird game, dude. It's so weird. It's so bad. It's so uninteresting. And they like portray it as this Final Fantasy era. It's such a weird game. I hated it so badly. Anyway, that was a fun stream. Thank you guys for watching.